Welcome back. Game 2 ready for you here as EHOME drop game number 1 in this best of 3. Very close though up against IG. A few little missteps though from CTY definitely let things slip as IG really did grab that game by the horns and show them what for. But there's a draft for game number 2 ready. You know, drag and drop, there's heroes being picked, there's players getting ready in their roles. And IG this time don't get the bounty hunter first pick because EHOME have stolen it.
10 seconds.
They do indeed. They also open up with the Lycan in the first phase. It seems to be a Chinese thing because I've not seen that before in any other regions here ever since 707 came out. But IG, of course, they get themselves your Spirit instead in the first one to punch together with the Shadow Shaman. Some very solid heroes, especially in the hands of this particular team.
10 seconds remaining.
I'm looking forward to this one, Gareth. Should be a good one too. And IG, of course, they want to know if they bring this one under the table as well, then they'll have knocked out EHOME with a quick 2-0 out of the Genting qualifiers.
Yeah, looks like it might go that way. Draft so far, IG, Earth Spirit for Baboka. Baboka, Earth Spirit. Baboka did very well in that previous game. Sniping couriers as Baboka. Very good Baboka game for Baboka. This time
Please
around,
stop.
Earth Spirit on the cards for Baboka. Yeah, is looking pretty good for Baboka. Baboka.
Oh, no. Please no.
Oh, I've got to go back and watch that video. It's definitely one of my favorites, but yeah, Lycan, I'm still unsure about this. You know, you're saying we've seen it a couple of times from China, not really from any other regions. Very early pick. It does show, you know, your safe lane very early on, but with Night Stalker banned, there's no counterplay there really from IG to pick that up. They've set themselves up nicely for another 5-man push draft, while IG definitely a lot more open with their picks to start things off.
Yeah. I mean, you've already got the Shadow Shaman, so it's a good source of lockdown for the Lycanthrope. Obviously, mostly with the Shackles, because even if you hex him, if he's not on the farm, he's still going to be super fast. But need something like that to make sure that you can get the drop on him and actually kill him, because he's not the most tanky hero in the world, unless he's itemized into a couple of these strength items. Man, Necrobook even still gives a strength, right? Or did they change that?
Invictus Gaming.
But yeah, regardless, Lycanthrope is a hero that you can deal with just a bit of wave clear, a bit of control. And I don't really think that it gives you things that other heroes wouldn't, in that sense. Certainly not this early on. Right?
It's not going to be a CTY mid Shadow Shaman though, right?
Yeah.
I don't think IG play the Shadow Shaman mid, but it's a possibility. We saw CTY yesterday do a pretty good job with the mid Rasta, but IG, time to start showing a little more in this draft. You got the 2 supports. Where is your XXS offlane hero with Tide, Omni, and Tusk all banned? What really is left for you? Legion Commander potentially against Lycan isn't too bad, but the Doom is what they go for. That lovely ability to shut down the Lycan before he gets the shapeshift. Also maybe eat a couple of his little creeps.
Pretty strong as well with the Infernal Blade against any sort of strength hero. Percentage-based damage can help burn through them through these heroes quite quickly. So yeah, very solid pick. Then also that also means that you have as much information as you can to go into your decisions for your core picks. IG also have the very last pick here in this particular draft, so can also probably pick up the safe laner next and then counter pick whatever mid EHOME want to pick up for CTY.
Oh, taking their sweet time over this.
Yeah.
Thinking long and hard, EHOME. I mean, 5-roll hero is still out there to give over to Y. As that bounty hunter likely in the hands of HYM. And we could see the Jakiro come back into this potentially. Adds even more push, but there's no disruptor, no AA. Very focused bans in that second phase from IG up against Y. Make sure that they get the most out of this Earth Spirit early on.
I really don't know what you draft here, because you need quite a few things, right? You need some sort of safety for Lycan, ideally, like some sort of ability to take team fights and actually enable him to push. One way or the other. Either you do the 4 protect 1 kind of thing with just 4 people running at somebody in the other side of the map, and then Lycan has space to push down the other side lane. Or
Invictus Gaming's turn
you just go for straight up team fight. And alright, Witch Doctor,
Oh,
Broodmother, looks like they go the other direction in terms of lane domination. Just trying to win those and then just barrel down every lane as a 5-man unit, being too strong to really be counterplayed. Is that the plan here for EHOME?
10 seconds remaining.
I'm not even sure.
Yeah. Like,
They've got Howl, they've got Broodmother,
5 seconds remaining.
they've got a decent amount of lane control here with the Witch Doctor and the Bounty Hunter as well. But if this Broodmother falls short, you know, IG still have that potential counterpick for their matchup with the Brood. I don't know if EHOME can ban everything that deals up against it. You know, there's a number of things that IG could look towards here. The Bristleback was a good old one. We
Radiant
could see
team
the
back.
Axe come back, but you know, if it's a mid lane hero for OP that we're looking for,
Yeah.
maybe a little more difficult to decide what you want.
that's the thing, right? I mean,
Maybe a Timbersaw, actually. Timbersaw could be super sick here.
Tiny has actually also not been banned out, and
10 seconds
last time I saw that was in SEA, I believe. Tiny did extremely well against the
5
Broodmother, just
seconds remaining.
continually shut her down, always just tossing trees and just units towards the Spiderling army, just making sure it doesn't build up at all. So that could be something that IG is thinking about as well.
Radiant team pick.
Well, they ban out the Shadow Fiend.
Yeah.
Get rid of that Raise machine. Final pick for EHOME. The potential here for an offlane Brood, move it away from mid, is there. They could still go for a CTY hero to try and even things out at this stage, but it's
10
definitely going to
seconds
be
remaining.
a difficult end to the draft for EHOME. They've shown
5 seconds
that they
remaining.
are aiming towards lane domination into early push with
Invictus
Lycan Brood,
Gaming's
and now a Brewmaster comes out. Still could be open here in the laning stage to swap a couple of these heroes around, but IG, I feel, with this final pick, could quite easily just come out and say, what up, it's a Timber.
You may
Yep.
now
Like we
select
thought,
your
Timbersaw,
hero.
super sick game for him here. Double strength core, very good against the Broodmother as well with reactive armor and that AoE clear. And there's nothing really here that counters him, except maybe a Cyclone to take him out of the fight.
Yeah, Cyclone. We've also seen a Witch Doctor be very effective against the Timbersaw with a Maledict the other day, but that is also, of course, dependent on any sort of burst damage. And right now, if you look at the EHOME's lineup, the only burst that they have is the Bounty Hunter Shuriken Toss, which is not ideal, to say the least. Because by the time it gets leveled up to a point where it's considerable, the Timbersaw will have plenty of stacks up in the reactive armor more often than not. So it's very strong last pick. He's gonna have a hard time dying, even if he's trying. And same for Doom, really. He's also a very tanky hero. Gyrocopter's the only one of these cores that is vulnerable, perhaps. But it's also here that the Broodmother cannot really do too much against, as long as he has mana and some room to maneuver.
Well, into game we go. We'll see how EHOME decides to lane this one up and deal with what IG have picked. Lots of kill power on their lanes, though. You know, Doom, Gyro, Timber, all great damage output heroes early on. With the help of an Earth Spirit, they really could open things up over on the dire side. GH.
Prepare for battle.
Go home.
Oh, man.
Go home, IG. Good luck from the Timber and the Broodmother, though. So, Faith Bian over on this Brewmaster. It will be the old chicken Lycan heading towards mid, so they have swapped things up a little bit here, putting CTY on the safe lane Brood, while Y will play the Witch Doctor, and of course HYM Bounty Hunter, while on IG, what do we have? Chinese names everywhere.
Yeah. I believe that's XXS on a Doom. That much I can ascertain, because it's the same character twice as well in his Chinese name.
But who's on the Timber and who's on the Gyro? That's what I really want to know.
30 seconds.
I want to know if they've
That's a good
swapped
question.
things up there. But we have Bubaka on the Earth Spirit, and we have Q, of course, the Shadow Shaman. Timbersaw, I would say, is OP, and then Gyro will be Gaze of Death.
I think so,
ZYF End, whatever. That's the most likely setup here we have across the 5 of IG, so that's what I'm going to leave it as. You can confirm, potentially, but pretty certain that's the way things are going. Don't think that OP and ZYF would have swapped their roles around at all. As Doom down at the bottom spot is going to go for a Bounty Rune steal, and he gets it as well. So a 2 for 2 as Bounty snuck the one up towards the north, and Doom takes a bit of a battering there from the Radiant side. Now Timbersaw off lane. Heading towards mid is actually the Doom up against the Lycan in that 1v1. Matching up the Brood and the Timbersaw, of course, is what they want to be heading towards. While Earth Spirit can roam between those two lanes, try and deal with what the Bounty Hunter brings to the table. Start things off, Cask, no Maledict for the Witch Doctor to get a bit of damage in onto Timber. Reactive armor, 5 stacks, but I don't think it's going to be enough to save him. Roll forward will not keep him alive. Timber brought down very early on, and even the Earth Spirit taking a battering there, forced back to his own tier 1 as IG take the first fall.
Well, I said it about the Titan in the last game. The same true for Timbersaw level 1. He's still extremely vulnerable. Reactive armor level 1, it's not going to save you against all of this, even without the Maledict. So he does pay the price, easy first blood, but that's going to change eventually, right? Once he gets like level 2, level 3 at least, then it's going to be much harder for them to pull off the same kind of play. Up top though, well, Bounty Hunter trying to match up against the Shadow Shaman here. So far, so successful actually.
There's a lot of damage from Ether Shock and right clicks though. Tango's going for the Shadow Shaman, can regen back up. Bounty and Brew have secured a bit of lane safety for themselves though. Get Brew into that level 2 so he can have maybe the Drunken Brawler to survive through this lane a little better. How's mid lane going? Doom against the Lycan. Lycan coming out on top a little bit here. Infernal Blade being spammed out a touch as the salve comes out from Doom. Once he gets that Devour up and going, could potentially start to overtake the Lycan into the net worth once we get into like 10 minutes or so. But it's a safe lane Broodmother with Soul Ring ready, coming out on the Courier once it's delivered its stuff towards mid. Like you said, Timbersaw, he's level 2, got the Whirling Death, he's got a source of damage now to try and clear through some Spiderlings if he can, but mainly just staying alive.
It's one of these spells that does turn into pure damage, right, if you catch away with it. So
yeah,
it's super useful against the spiders. Not enough at level 1, I do believe.
No, you can't insta-kill them, no.
You can kill spider rights. It does 100 damage with the pure damage, so it's just enough for the mini spiders at least. Not the actual spiderlings. But yeah, Broodmother should be careful enough. I mean, there's no point actually right-clicking Timbersaw at this point anyway, so might as well try and keep the spiderlings away from him. And just going in for these kind of last hits. Build up the army for any sort of support that comes in to try and help out eventually.
Brewmaster is having a pretty damn good time, already 10 CS. Just behind the Gyro in farm. Shadow Shaman unable to really stop him. As the Earth Spirit not yet making a rotation up towards the top lane, trying to save bottom and mid for now. Witch Doctor even making the long walk away, leaving Brood in a 1v1 against the Timbersaw. Feeling it's not really possible to shut the Timber down at this stage of the game.
Yeah. He has his own Soul Ring now, so this is the point where you just have to accept it and turn it into a farming lane. Try to do things somewhere else. Make rotation up top and just keeping the Shadow Shaman at bay. Making sure it doesn't go too aggro on the Brewmasters is going to be super useful. I mean, you said it already. Keeping up in terms of CS quite nicely, interrupting the pull, and now even more help coming with the Witch Doctor. There's Cask and Maledict now, and I do not believe he's been scouted out yet by the Dire.
No, they don't have a clue. He walked all the way up. They won't know he's coming. He's aiming to cut through one of these trees and maybe backstab the Gyro. Shadow Shaman very far forward as well. Bounty looking to scout. Can't find anyone just yet. IG playing very defensively, but they do know Earth Spirit is lurking around towards that rune spot with this Observer Ward, seeing everything coming their way. But wasted time here from the Radiant. At the very least, they give Brewmaster even more space up in this top spot. And it's down at bottom again, this Timbersaw. Now he's level 5, doing a lot of work against this Broodmother. Taking her reasonably low. And he's got level 3 reactive armor, meaning that he's super unlikely to die at this point.
Gotta be super careful here as well with not feeding out way too many spiderlings. He's up at 30 losses, not sure how many of those were actually due to these spiders. So it's a bit inflated, but he's still doing well in this lane. as evidenced by the fact that Broodmother, I mean, already forced to do the creep skipping thing, which was very viable, of course.
Maledict on the gyro top, taking a little bit of damage, but it's the Shadow Shaman who's in the most trouble. Slowed down by the Orb of Venom and clicked by the Witch Doctor to bring him to his knees. Shadow Shaman will be the second kill of this game, as the Broodmother diving behind tier 1, cutting the wave completely now behind towers. Trying to get a bit of damage onto the tower, but Timbersaw tanks it all up. Doesn't really care as top lane. They're going to go in again, this time on the Gyro Cask. And the Maledict on 2. The Shackles to slow the brew, but in comes the Bounty Hunter. Homing Missile will land, and can they turn this? The damage output is good enough. HYM falls, they get a second. Oh, IG. Very, very close window, but they get the 2 supports, and they don't lose the Gyro.
That was very close indeed, but level 1 Maledict does have its weaknesses. It's not quite enough unless you do a significant amount of burst damage. And also always, of course, takes a while to really be impactful, and then time is all the Gyrocopter need to get multiple instances of the Rocket Barrage off. And now you get the Brewmaster trying to be greedy for the rune. He does get it. You gotta ask at what cost, right?
Yeah. I do find the Doom, though, with the Maledict and the Cask bouncing back off Baboka. They're gonna get the kill on the mid laner.
No Scorcher available either, so skills all over the map here with these rotating supports from both sides.
And back up towards top, there you go. Look for some more action there. So Broodmother just continues cutting wave, 2,000 gold saved up. Maybe expect the Mask of Manus Desolator build to come, but equally could be a rushed Orchid or a Necrobook, as oh god, they actually get the kill on the Shadow Shaman top lane. But Broodmother's build definitely going to be important this game. Early game pressure is required here to try and salvage what's happened across the map, because the lanes have been super messy for them. As Lycan has the Helm of the Dominator moving into that Necro Book, as we expect from these Chinese Lycans. But I do wonder, like, Broodmother, what kind of build do you go for? The battle build with, like, Desomon BKB? Do you go for the Orchid? Do we see the Midas Radiance come back, which has been long gone? Old school build, NPC, old chickens Lycan. Good save here from Y, though. The Cask Maledict bouncing back between the 2 aggressive heroes, but this Infernal Blade does so much damage. Level 3 Infernal Blade with a Scorched Earth damage on top of it as well. They will get the Maledict tick back on the Earth Spirit, at least, with the help of the Mud Golem and Wolves chasing back. But still, very, very good play there from the Dire team. And it is a Midas on the Brood, so this could be Midas Radiance. Well, it could be anything, to be honest.
Could be, yeah, I mean, this kind of early style is just ignoring the Timbersaw completely, just farming on the other side of the map. I mean, you get all the money in the world, and you do enable yourself to get a quick Midas, but I do believe that you still need to go for some sort of TPS build in terms of right clicks. I mean, you have the Lycan as your carry, quote-unquote, like out of the 2 position in mid here in this game, but he does tend to fall off in that department eventually. And Broodmother is also not the best, so they kind of have to complement each other in that sense and go for some sort of right-click just to sustain damage in the team fights later on the line. Right now, you can just do these kind of things, right? I mean, run down Shadow Shaman with your ultimate and your creeps, but it's not always going to be the case. It's not always going to be successful.
Grace Bian splits for the Timber bot lane, but the chain away buys enough space to walk back. The Spiderlings come forward, but it's just never going to be enough to kill this Timbersaw. He's too tanky. This move was never going to work. And now the Cyclone to hold him back. Broodmother retreats a little further. Lycan we've quite often considered as a counter to Gyro, with the Necrobook build being so good against Flat Cannon, pre-BKB especially. Very strong against that Flat Cannon from Gyro. Lycan able to close the gap as well. Gyro very rarely likes heroes up in his face. We used to see that same kind of back and forth with Gyro versus the PL or Gyro versus Lycan, is that gap closer, and the damage from them so very strong. But then you still look at the Doom, the Timbersaw, very good against all of these heroes from the Radiant team. And I'm starting to wonder, I mentioned the Midas Dagon build on Broodmother. It could be good this game. It could be very good against the Timbersaw if you've got that amount of magic burst with a Maledict to go as well. Being able to bring these heroes down quickly is very important, and it's an old-school Chinese build, the Midas Dagon. Just sit on a lane somewhere, kill off some heroes.
I've not really seen it myself in a long time, but yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, It's one way that you can't deal with the Timber Saw. Like, even if you don't go for the right-click builds, minus armor of like Medallion and Desolator, you still need... It's still very hard to kill him. Top lane, Witch Doctor, anyway, should be able to walk out. But, I don't know. A lot of things just have to go right for EHOME, I feel like, including the Brewmaster. That's probably the most important part. Making sure that you use that Brew Split for something worthwhile and not just keeping a Timber Saw away. Jarek up the top. Oh, Bounty Hunter under the cover of the Sentry Ward. Another one, and Rocket will actually be enough to finish him off. All right.
Level 2 homing. 3-2-0-1 build. Early magic damage from Gyro, so very potent. Now the pressure into tier 1 mid.
Yeah, I mean, this is where IG's lineup already starts to come into his own. They've already claimed the tier 1 bottom. With Timber Saw being left alone, just 1 or 2 creepers coming through with a catapult. Like, he, of course, tank the tower up indefinitely at this point. Also has the max timber chains, the super mobility. They cannot really deal with him at this point wherever he shows up. Unless they just throw the book at him with Maledict, all the burst that they can offer. Then maybe. It's still not super safe at that point. Then you have the Doom, who's in a similar position, right? He's starting to put some more points into Scorched Earth now. He hasn't even had to use his ultimate just yet, but they're starting to group up and putting on this early pressure with the threat of these kind of abilities and the strengths that they have.
Well, Broodmother bought a Medallion. Not sure if I'm a fan of that. It will open up Roshan for his team. You know, a very fast Medallion with a Lycan and a Broodmother definitely gives you the option to go into Roshan, but with a map control going so firmly the way of IG, with towers falling, pressure coming across the river, it's going to be difficult to get yourself into the pit, to be perfectly honest. You need to win a team fight before even considering moving that far forward. Maybe the Medallion can help them out, but it's going to really come down to, like you said, the Brewmaster ulti, whether they can get the full utilization out of that ability, control team fights, create that chaos, and remove people out with a Cyclone. And Gyro will come in and defend tier 1 mid themselves. IG giving away nothing to this Radiant side. They even know the Bounty Hunters come up here, place the ward, and they'll be able to counter that immediately.
It's always nice, like, if you own ward, scouts out the enemy team, placing out one. Just taking away so much value. Jumps also completed in Gyrocopter, so the old school build, phase jumps, max mobility, as well as some extra stats to work with. And he's even making... oh, that's not exactly stack timing. He's thinking about trying to farm these up, but there's already plenty of stacks overall made by his team in this general area. So IG is setting themselves up for success on all fronts, really, and pressure is really on EHOME. I feel like they're gonna go on bottom now. Boboka is dead, maybe with Maledict ticks.
Yeah,
extra couple of right clicks, yeah, especially with the extra stone being thrown by the Lycan. Still, the kill still goes to Witch Doctor. Doom thinking about throwing out his ultimate, and now it gets going on. No support whatsoever. The Death Ward committed as well. And
not sure about that. Well, not sure about this either. Why is Gyro here? Oh god. Oh god. Get away. Get away. I mean, Earth Spirit dying there is fine. That's whatever. Gave away the position of a ward. They could have maybe de-warded it a little bit later on, but now losing the Doom and then the Shadow Shaman as well immediately after. Not really acceptable from IG as they're filtering in one by one. Boboka will go in onto the Witch Doctor and catch him with a Boulder Smash, but the TP out. Is this going to be successful? We are wise out of there. TP's back home. EHOME lose nothing this time, showing them what for, 10-5. EHOME will be the ones that finally get themselves across the river and do something.
There's a big question mark for IG, giving them a lot more than they really should have. It's as you said, right? I mean, Earthspur dying, alright, whatever. But then just the Doom especially, so important. We haven't really felt his impact just yet. Sure, he's had a decent time mid, I guess, up against the Lycan, but if you look at the net worths now, after laning stage is broken down, Lycan sitting near the top at 6k. Of course, only eclipsed by the Broodmother. And Doom starting to fall behind with these couple of deaths here on under his belt. He's going back for the Midas, trying to offset that, but it's not going to be the fastest one in the world.
CTY has just been farming his absolute mind out. 3.5k saved up. Who knows what he's going to go for? Medallion Radiance? Go back for the Deso maybe?
Yep.
See in a second as he'll start to spend his money. But mid lane, Witch Doctor sat behind the Brewmaster. 5 heroes from IG swing down towards the bottom tier 2 with the Serpent Wards placed. EHOME maybe thinking about going into Roshan at this point, knowing where all of IG are. They've got the Medallion and now the Deso. There it is for Broodmother coming in on the Courier. Roshan should fall relatively quickly with the help of Lycan here. And it's a question of whether IG can get back to defend. They're TPing en masse back to these mid towers. Roshan, what, half HP? In come the Spiderlings again, and IG just not in a position to do anything. They'll hunt the Bounty Hunter instead, and this will be an easy pickoff as long as he can't pop back into invisibility as HYM chased, silenced, and hit by another Infernal Blade, which will secure his demise. But it just goes into the Broodmother's hands.
It's going to make engaging into this lineup a little bit more tricky, to say the least, yeah, because Broodmother at this point, it's still forced to be reckoned with, right? We've been talking about the counters, the Timbersaw and whatnot, but Spiderling Army, CTY is maintaining a pretty decent number of that. A pretty decent number of Spiderlings. And heroes like Shadow Shaman still have to be very, very conscious of that. Same for Popoka, even on the Earth Spirit. Not everyone is invincible to that. And not to mention all of this minus armor build makes it so that you're actually hitting extremely hard, especially with the help of your Insatiable Hunger as well. It's a very potent ability, right?
Well,
extra lifesteal, 100 extra damage, it's quite a lot at this point in the game.
Here comes the timing from EHOME. They've got Necro 3, they've got Desolator, they've got that Medallion, and Brewmaster, of course, with the Blink split, aiming towards Radiance for himself, so that's where the Radiance is going to come from. But EHOME will start to think now about really laying it on thick, and it's down to IG to counteract what they're doing, or really get ahead of the curve, with Timbersaw being pretty reasonably farmed, third in the net worth. Quite significantly behind the Broodmother though, but we've seen it over and over again. If the Broodmother dies 2 or 3 times in the next 5 minutes, things can just spiral completely out of control the other way. This is EHOME's chance to 5-man, assert their dominance, get all of these outer objectives, and try and force EHOME to fight into them.
For now it's IG's turn, and well, looks like EHOME's... they have to do something here, right? They're losing. That's almost the last Altair tower there. The Space Gun comes in, doesn't even go for the clap. Comes in with the ultimate, trying to stun up the Gyrocopter, but they find the Shadow Shaman first. Good catch, especially if they can find more. Doom brought back down as it was lifted up in the air earlier. Ultimate, there's no real point of throwing it out now. So the rest of his team has already abandoned him. Oh, Gyro TP even gets interrupted by Brewmaster as well. They also find Popoka on the side. 4 heroes will fall in the end unless Gyro can somehow play his way out of this one, but I don't believe he can. There's too many units running him down, and, well, it's exactly what they need. This is, as you were saying, this is their timing. Just run people down with all your physical damage, with the catch potential, and with their Brew ultimate just being so crucial to disrupt the fight and make sure that IG don't have all the tools available. They still lose the tower though, so...
They lose the tower to the Serpent Wards, but a huge teamfly win for EHOME. Utilizing that Aegis, just pushing forward aggressively. Brew split works perfectly, and they get even more gold into their pockets as IG drop further and further behind. I mean, have we seen a Doom yet? It feels like this hero from the mid lane has been completely cut off from the rest of the world. And Timbersaw runs away, keeping his Bloodstone charges alive. 14 still on him, yet to die after picking up that item, but it's a difficult one to progress forward from in this game. Looking towards that Gyro BKB, which will be another big turning point here for IG, but it definitely does feel like EHOME can just keep moving forward. If Lycan can get that shapeshift off cooldown, run towards some more towers, get these tier 2s, start knocking on the door of high ground and tier 3s, CTY's Broodmother really unstoppable at this point as well. Another 3.5k gold saved up. No need for boots.
It's absolutely insane the amount of farm that he's been able to secure for himself. But of course Might is doing its own thing, but also no deaths, 3 kills, just the webs, making sure that you can just walk all over the place very efficiently, very quickly. So it starts to add up, but the question is, for how long will they be in this honeymoon phase? Because on the other side, you're also still farming, you also still have a few buffer buildings, if you want to consider the tier 2 towers that, right? Because the big question is, can you break high ground up against the Gyrocopter, up against the Timbersaw, right? Who have very good wave clear. And we'll continue to build into the next round of items. Timber looks like Talisman of Evasion for the Solar Crest, so eventually I feel like these heroes will just outscale this timing there that EHOME has.
It's going to come down to this Doom, whether he can get the ulti off at a key time, you know, before the Brew ultis, before Lycan ultis, or just onto the Brood Mother in general. We're seeing, you know, Solar Crest on the Timbersaw to try and mitigate as much of this right-click damage from all of these little summons, the Spiderlings, and the Lycan's army as he can, but it's them reacting to what EHOME are doing and building, for sure. Difficult spot to be in. Even the Shadow Shaman's buying a Hand of Midas. They want to aim towards the later stages of the game.
Yep.
Get all of their key items up and try and, like, you know, weather the storm.
So the Orchid now for the Brood Mother, just picked it up. Blink forward from Faith Beyond. Shadow Shaman will be dying to do almost just that. The rest of the team not even needing to go in, so I guess he's tanking the gank. Big old smoke, the rest of IG able to take that chance to retreat, but they'll have to give up their tier 2 at least. Look called on actually to slow this down, so it's a bit of an issue. Timbersaw somewhere else entirely, he'll have to come back to defend.
Well, the Shapeshifter's over, and Timbersaw has pushed bot lane towards tier 3. So it's going to have to be EHOME that comes back and deals with this, with both side lane towers up. They can't really go for, you know, a tier 3 mid push and then transition into another set of racks if they win a team fight. They want that option. They definitely need to push out these side lanes and address what IG have been doing the last minute and a half. As Timbersaw is starting to get into a position where he is a scary beast in these team fights. 3k saved up pretty much on him as the Necro unit and the Hellbear Smasher arrives, but a smoke from IG behind OP coming in to this Radiant side jungle. EHOME all hiding in their base though. Feels like they know what's coming.
Timbersaw's got both of these Necro Crews, so plus 400 gold. This feels really, really good if you can get those for free, essentially. A hero like that, it immediately regens that health. Gotta be careful not to feed too many of these summons or minions or whatever you want to call them away.
It's really nice. They show the gyro bot, so it feels like there's people sitting bot lane behind the gyrocopter. But EHOME not getting baited in. Serpent wards get thrown in onto the tier 2 mid just for that proxy push, and the rest of IG retreat away. I think they know that Bounty Hunter is lurking around somewhere here, but they'll just come back and farm. No real reason to go and commit for any kind of team fight when Radiant have all of their ultis, and Aegis is gone. 50 seconds until the next potential spawn.
Also didn't quite have the gyrocopter BKB. He's finished up now and flying out. Line to Kura. No items on it. The recipe's still back at base, but that means that our Gyro will have to walk all the way back, which is a bit unfortunate.
Full Lotus Orb for the Timber.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Timber's still surging ahead, and Doom, you know, eventually is going to catch up, right? He has a Midas and he has Devour. Even though he's been extremely slow with his progression so far, he's going to get there eventually. He's also itemized into the Blink Dagger now to make sure that you can actually find a Doom. We still have yet to see one this game. It's kind of crazy, 23 minutes, not a single ult usage of that hero, but
that's been a tough one.
Yeah, it's still fine though, I feel like, for IG, because as I said, I mean, there's so much hinges on this Brewmaster, and if you manage to take that out of the running, then, well, Timbersaw will have the freedom to do what he wants. Gyrocopter can also start to do some damage eventually. Speaking of Timbersaw, he gets gone off. And killed immediately. But Walker, oh, he comes in, he's next on the list. It's the same like in the bottom lane, just feeding another one on top of the sacrifice that you've already made.
Execute order, draw the series. EHOME looks like they're going to drag this one back to a 1-1, taking down two heroes very quickly there in the mid lane. So much control between them. That Orchid on Brood. They've got the stuns and the Maledict from Witch Doctor. It did cost them the Primal Split, but with Roshan respawning in about a minute and a half, they'll have that up at exactly the right time for Faith Bian. Full pipe for the Lycan, moving into the Assault Cuirass. Still no boots on either of their core heroes, in fact. Just the no boots strat from Lycan and Broodmother.
I haven't even noticed that, but yeah. Don't see that all that often, but both of these heroes obviously candidates for that. The other one would be the Weaver, I guess, because they all have this other ways of being mobile across the map.
Our best build was Dota 1, no boots Treant, Radiance Rush. No one in Dota 1, no one bought Reveal. Like, no one bought Sentries or Dust or Gem or anything like that. So you just buy Radiance and stand next to people and they'd be like, duh, what's happening?
Yeah, okay.
Wow, am I dying? Is that a BKB? Oh, CTY is so incredibly farmed.
Yeah.
Close to unkillable. 25 minutes in with 17,000 net worth. EHOME looking to close this one out. One fight will secure them Roshan in 30 seconds as they blink forward. Shadow Shaman, one hit crit from the Brew. The Hex to turn back, but he's already dead. Faith Beyond makes damn sure to finish him off as Baboka. Oh, he's been caught. The Orchid there onto Baboka. Baboka's gonna die. Baboka is dead. Baboka's gone. Crit down by the Lycan as Old Chicken shows him. He was the strongest in this one.
This is the one way they'll lose this game if they keep just giving up solo heroes like that, and at the very least they're doing the split pushing thing, almost Navi style, right? Just keeping lanes pushed out, making sure that there's less of a chance for EHOME to actually take objectives off of that. At the same time, though, they do have a creep wave coming through mid. That's all they really need if they want to commit for it, but right now there's other objectives to take. Safer objectives to take here is they're scattered out Roche for these spiderlings, and it's gonna be Aegis and Cheese in the hands of the Radiant side. They're still just extending the timing window more and more.
It dies so quick. Like, IG are moving there as quickly as they can to try and contest. They're still thinking about fighting here, even with the Aegis gone. The BKB from Gyro comes out for Baboka. He's going to get the stun. In onto the Brew. The damage is there. He's muted up, but he's going to get taken out. The Aegis is gone. Taken out of the game, but the trade will finally arrive with Lycan bringing down the Earth Spirit at long last. But it's the Broodmother in the back end, clearing the entirety of IG away from this fight as the Doom slaughtered in front of his teammates' eyes. The Timbersaw has to retreat, but he's slowed up. No stun will cancel, but they've got the long-range catch from the Rod of Atos. Lotus Orb will buy him a little bit of time, but they've got the control and the damage required to take down a fourth hero, with Gyro being the lone survivor.
They take that fight before Roshan. They win it, then maybe get Roche. The entire game looks different as it stands. That gold lead from 10k surging up to 17k, and all of a sudden it gets very hard to actually find the time to catch up. This creep wave barreling down mid. They cannot take any of the side lanes after this because the tier 2 is still standing. They might not even get the full set of racks here with the glyph also slowing things down a little bit. Timbersaw back in fray. Another couple of seconds, but rolling in. Good McIntyre and everybody. But what's the follow-up? Doom signs up. BKB on the Broodmother, just starting to right-click, tearing him down one more time. And meanwhile, Helitic on a Gyrocopter, forcing his own BKB, but the right-clicks here between Faith Beyond and CTY, almost enough, another web, and they call it GG. They've been timing pushed.
28 minutes and the game ends. Lycan, Brood. No boots, only towers. Killing off that dire base. Quickly as they killed off those dire heroes. I mean, Doom never came online. The Timbersaw did a good job early in the laning phase, but they never got that ability to go and group up and team fight. They didn't have the Tide Ravage. They didn't have that big combo, which we saw from them in the previous game, that allowed them to kind of swing back when EHOME were hitting their timing. And this time, EHOME take down IG in game number 2. So we're going to a game 3. Things are all tied up, of course. Typical Chinese best of 3. We'll take a short break. EHOME against IG will come back in just a little bit.